holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
We've signed a climate convention on the importance of economic instruments and free markets. We're included in this mammoth Agenda 21 document and the Rio Declaration. Let me be clear on one fundamental point. The United States fully intends to be the world's preeminent leader in protecting the global environment.
Coming up, Technocracy News. Good morning. This is Patrick Wood for Technocracy News and Trends. Today is March 19, 2019. There's interesting stories, of course, on Technocracy every day from around the world, and today is no exception. First story I want to discuss is interestingly written by Donald Trump Jr. That's correct. Not senior, but Donald Trump Jr. The title of the story is Big Tech Censorship Continues to Squeeze Free Speech. And actually, this is quite an intelligent article. The first paragraph starts out, says, as big tech censorship of conservatives becomes ever more flagrant and overt, the old arguments about protecting the sanctity of modern public square are now invalid. Our right to freely engage in public discourse through speech is under sustained attack, necessitating a vigorous defense against the major social media and internet platforms. And I have to say amen to that. We are experiencing that very thing at Technocracy News. And then he goes on to say, from shadow bans on Facebook and Twitter to demonetization of YouTube videos, to pulled ads on Republican candidates and other conservative candidates at the critical junctures of election campaigns, it just goes on and on. And so this is being understood and picked up perhaps at the top levels of the Trump administration. We can hope so. The second story is interesting. The Department of Energy has been working with Intel and other high-tech companies as well to produce a supercomputer, a new supercomputer that breaks an important barrier in computing technology, and that is this supercomputer that they've now created will actually be able to process a quintillion calculations per second. Quintillion. That's, let's see, 10 with I don't know how many zeros after it, can't measure it, but it's so fast. It's a billion, actually it's a billion times a billion. It's so fast that it will be able to just crunch incredible amounts of computer modeling. And we know that computer modeling is the most dangerous game in town in many cases because it often produces phony results. So the Department of Energy, really? I thought that was for about energy, not computers. The fact is, however, the Department of Energy has been full of technocrats, literally card-carrying technocrats, for a very long time. And it appears that they have no problem going beyond their mission statement of just being the Department of Energy to working on things like this. Go figure. You can't really figure it out. The last story that I posted this morning is a sad story. My headline title is BirthStrikers. Women fear climate change, refuse to have children. This is a very sad story because women are so scared about climate change and the end of the world that they're refusing to have children. This is climate paranoia taken to the extreme. And there's no way to justify it. There's no way to rationalize it, really. But women across the world now, at least in the developed world, are consciously making the decision to forego building a family and having the joys of parenthood because they're so scared of climate change. It just boggles the mind that somebody could get to this state. But it's true. And so this is an article worth reading and sharing with your young friends especially. Don't let them fall into this paranoia, this overwhelming urge to protect themselves somehow from a future they don't have any clue about. They're totally deceived, and they're totally confused. They're bewildered, wandering around. If that's not the saddest story in town, I don't know what is. It really is. There's been some new developments on the article posted yesterday about the Green New Deal being plagiarized by AOC and Justice Democrats and others. And a sharp reader, I'm not sure where he's from, could be from the United Kingdom, but a sharp reader sent some other additional links to material that indicate that the Green New Deal was being talked about and written about 1 year earlier than what I had noticed in my article. My article said that plagiarism came from a United Nations report sponsored by UNEP called Rethinking the Economic Recovery, a Global Green New Deal. And indeed, the markers were there. But there have been other stories in the United Kingdom that talked about a Green New Deal very openly and covered many of the same points. Not exactly, but many of the same points. So I modified or posted an update at the bottom of the article posted yesterday to include the PDF download and the link to the website and so on that goes with this update. So the Green New Deal, interestingly, reported by an organization called the Green New Deal Group, based in the UK. And they come out with all the main points and stuff. Their executive summary at the beginning of this report says the global economy is facing a triple crunch. It is a combination of a credit-fueled financial crisis, accelerating climate change, and soaring energy prices underpinned by an encroaching peak in oil production. These three overlapping events threaten to develop into a perfect storm, the like of which has not been seen since the Great Depression. To help prevent this from happening, we are proposing a Green New Deal. And the report goes on and talks about all those things. A 40-page report, quite detailed, quite specific in its projections, and it talks about the things like rebuilding all the buildings and commercial buildings and stuff across the country, about strict energy control, alternative energy, creating an army and training a carbon army of workers. You wonder where this stuff just comes from, honestly, but the climate change paranoia has already been noted as coming originally from the Club of Rome. This is from their original report back in the late 1960s called A Limit to Growth. So it continues. The saga goes on. I'll be creating an additional report, a supplementary report on this new information about New Green Deal from the United Kingdom. Obviously, this is a global push. Is the United Nations behind it? Absolutely, positively. Partial proof of that is that it shows up in two different places at the same time. And they're pushing this, trying to make it sound like it's not a United Nations deal, but it is, clearly. So we continue to investigate. And I hope that more outlets will pick up this information and do something with it. The article I posted yesterday did get picked up by Canada Free Press. We thank them for their support and willingness to get this information out. Some of you have submitted it to Drudge Report for a link. It'd be wonderful if we could get that link up there. But this is really big news, and not too many people have considered it big news yet. Well, so what? I guess maybe there's just too many people plagiarizing today where it just doesn't impress anybody that it's an issue anymore. I don't know. But you would think for all the hoopla that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now, that they would lock onto this type of information and go, you can't pull that here. Your Green New Deal is not new, and it's not a deal, and you didn't invent it, so quit acting like you did. Furthermore, the Green New Deal is clearly sponsored by the global elite, and we've been saying that for years. This is just really a good story to prove the point that the global elite is behind us completely. That's it for today. I'm Patrick Wood for Technocracy News and Trends. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.